we're going to learn how to do the cross hatch stitch. When I first started crocheting, I used to look through all sorts of stitch patterns to test out how to do various stitches. And there were a couple times that I just got a little bit stumped because I did not understand where the designer actually wanted me to put my hook. I didn't understand that there are times you can actually work along the side of a stitch instead of into a chain or into the top of the stitch or even the post, like actually working on the side. So like if a stitch is normally this way, you're working so that it's going around like that, and it just made no sense to me. So when I first came across the cross hatch, say that 3 times fast, the cross hatch stitch, and I only had the written instructions, I was really unclear on how to do it. When I was able to chart out the instructions and mess around a little bit with the stitches, it became clear to me how this worked. I would consider this stitch pattern to be a little bit advanced. It's probably one of the most advanced stitches in this blanket. Don't let that scare you though. I mean, at this point in time, you have made so many squares for this blanket, or you've tried out other stitches. Let's tackle this with my help. I'm sure that you won't have any of the stumbling blocks like I had from the beginning. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. As I look at the baby square or the baby blanket, I'm looking at the cross hatch square right here, and it looks like just a mumble jumble of stitches. And what's going on here is that we have stitches that go this way and stitches that go this way, stitches that go this way, stitches that go this way. It changes directions the whole way. So it's kind of a really neat stitch. I've done it before on a garment and it looks really good. So I thought it was a wonderful one to add to the baby blanket because it doesn't add a whole lot of laciness, but if I wanted to stretch out and create some holes in my baby blanket, it absolutely does that for me. Let's go ahead and jump in and see how to do this. I'm using the pattern available at marleybird.com. It's called the Crochet Stitch Sampler Baby Blanket. We're working on the cross hatch square. It does include the in-class block chain amount, and in your pattern it will have the finished block chain amount. That's the number of chains I use to make the finished baby blanket. We have the written instructions and the charted instructions, so we're going to refer to both for this section as much as I can. All right, you ready to go? Here we are. I am using a worsted Aran weight wool or yarn today. It is Red Heart with Love. I have a size 6mm crochet hook. You could use any crochet hook size that you want to use to get the gauge that you're striving for. I will caution you that this particular stitch pattern tends to stretch a little bit. So if you find that you want to drop down a hook size, if not 2 hook sizes, to make this fit better with the squares for your baby blanket, this is a good time to do that. It says to chain 29 stitches, so I went ahead and I've chained 29. I've done that already because you have seen me chain many times. You don't need it again. And I'm going to look over here at the chart, and I can see that my number 1 is to the right side here, meaning I'm going to begin reading my chart this way. Now, just looking at the chart right now, you can tell based on other charts, it is not just a linear straight line. It's already very different. You know, what's going on here? There's all these chains. They're everywhere. What's going on? Well, it can get really confusing. So here we go. We have finished right here. This is the last chain that we've just created. That's our 29th chain. And we can tell that on row 2, that single crochet is going to be worked into that chain. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take my removable marker and I'm going to stick it into that chain. It's the one that's right below your hook right now. So that way I know that that's the end of my row. So that gives me some sort of orientation. Now I can see that I have 2 double crochets in the 1, 2, 3, 4th chain from hook. 2 double crochets in the 4th chain from hook. So I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put 4, or not 4, I'm going to put 2 double crochets right there. So there's 1 and 2. Now I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3 chains. I'm going to single crochet in this next chain. Okay, so skip 1, 2, 3 and single crochet in the next chain. You got that? Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to show you where that is. It's right here. I've single crocheted. I'm chaining 3. That gives it so that this next section, it's going to be the same height as these double crochets I'm getting ready to create. So I'm going to double crochet in the next 3 chains. You ready? I'm gonna yarn over. This is where I get confused. I'm like, where was I? Okay, I'd have my single right there. So I have a double right here. I'm getting confused. I know for a fact that you can get confused. So be very patient with this stitch. If you find that it's giving you way too much trouble than it's worth, I will encourage you to go find a different stitch pattern that you want to try out for your baby blanket. Make the baby blanket really yours. It'll look good, I promise. All right, so I've done the 3 doubles. Now I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3 chains, and I'm going to repeat. I'm going to put a single in the next chain. So here we go, skip, 1, 2, 3, single in the next. I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to put a double crochet in the next 3. Whew. 2, 3. Okay, so far, can you kind of see how we're getting that kind of blockage here? Got that? The next 3, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet, chain 3, and I'm going to do the double crochets again in the next 3. Skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put a single crochet in my last. Okay, so this is what we have. This one's right here, this one's right here, this one's right here, this one's right here. Can you see that? It's all like going to on the bias. All right, so this next section, I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to turn. Now I know that the top of that third chain is going to be the end of my row. So I'm going to mark it. I'm going to put 2 double crochets right here in the same spot that I just finished with the single. Now here's where I used to get confused. I was like, well, wait a second, there's no more chains here to work into. Well, what's going to happen is I'm going to actually work all the way over here into these chains, okay? You can work either into the chain or into the space. You know what? I'm going to work into the space, so let's do that. I'm going to just put my single crochet right there into that space, and that's my single. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 double crochets all into that same space, okay? You see what I mean about it being a little bit confusing? We're going all the way over there. So we're skipping all those double crochets we had created. We have to jump all the way across them to come all the way here to this side to do that. See how that works? So we've done that. Now we have to do that again. We're going to skip all of these doubles, come all the way over here to where our chain 3 is, and do a single crochet, chain 3, and then 3 doubles. Isn't this crazy? I mean, when I first started crocheting as a beginner, I was so confused. I remember my teammate in track and field asked me to help her with a pattern, and I came across a pattern like this, and I told her that it must be written wrong because I didn't understand how you could work into the side of a stitch. Now I know better. So at that time, there was no YouTube for me to go and refer to. Aren't you guys lucky to have me here doing this for you? Showing you how to do something like this? I mean, picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So I've come all the way across, and I can see that I'm going to put my single crochet into the top of that chain 3, which is what I've marked with my marker. So I'm coming all the way across, and I'm putting my single crochet right there. And then I would just begin again. I would repeat the chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn, put my 2 doubles into that space. I don't want to forget to mark it. So I'm going to set this down and take my marker. I'm going to move it up into that turning chain so that I can remember where that last chain stitch is. And I would carry on down the row. As I stretch this out, you can see that we have stitches that go this way, this way, this way, this way, stitches that go this way, this way, this way, this way. And then it'll continue in that manner all the way along through the whole square. Now, at the bottom here and at the top, you'll see it kind of has a wiggly, wobbly line. It's not a clean edge like our typical blocks have been. So when you go to sew this particular square to the other squares, all you're going to do, I'm just going to have you finagle it a little bit, and you're going to pull those stitches down and maybe tuck in the edges a little bit just to make it nice and clean as possible. It just looks really good. At the same time, if you decided to make it to where you left those spaces open when you connect blocks, maybe you just connected at that point and that point and that point, that would look really good too, because we have these nice spaces already created in there. So you have a lot of options when it comes to joining your blocks. Now that you know that you can put stitches anywhere, just about at the top of the stitch or the post stitches or even in the side of a stitch, you can do the cross hatch stitch pattern without any problems. Let's do this and put it together for your blanket.